Hello and welcome. My name is Gene, and today we're going to move ourselves through a couple of foundational postures. There varies on that school of thought on what would be considered a foundational posture for the body, but we'll spend this practice focusing on 3 poses specifically, while still adding in a little movement in the interludes. So for now, find your way to the center of your mat. Feet pointed toward the top, anchoring down through all the corners of your feet so that your legs are lifting up through the backs into your hip bones. Abdomen is lifting to the chest. The neck is long, rising upward to the sky as you breathe in through your nose. And breathe out through your nose. Take a sigh or yawn through your mouth. And in truth, you are in your first of those 3 postures already. You know this as your Tadasana, your mountain pose. In standing postures, Tadasana is one of those places where the body might start off before taking on movement. But as you're noticing your breath move through the body, as you're sensating the active lift in the legs and chest, the active dropping of the shoulder blades down the back, use that focus to soften any thoughts that might exist outside of your mat's borders. Take another couple breaths here in this more active beginning to your practice. We'll come back to a Tadasana a little bit later, just so that you can sensate yourself arriving on your mat in a very direct, very specified manner. Good job. From here, just relaxing through the arms, little bitty bend in the knees as you take on a more neutral, organic stance. And this stance could be a place where you start to create a focus for your practice today. Moving in a more foundational way, connecting with those 3 of a few different bedrock poses. It could be a nice practice of just returning to the fundamentals, the building blocks of yourself. Re-examining, questioning the way the body has moved through shapes if you've taken these poses frequently. Or maybe allowing yourself the space to learn something new based on what your body is telling you today. Very verbose intention today, but if that serves you, bring it with you. If that feels too verbose, you can cast it aside. We'll still offer some movement in the body just to feel some heat move through the system. Take another 2 breaths here. Now to start getting some heat traveling through, we'll do a little bit of arm movement. Inhale, the arms are going to reach up to the sky, gathering the hands together. And then exhale, press into your palms, forearms bending at the elbows, hands at heart center. Inhale, arms reach up. Take your eyes up to look at your hands. And then exhale, fanning the hands out to your sides. Neck comes back to neutral. Couple more of those sweeps, so breathe in, maybe the knees bend a little bit, just to add a little momentum to raise the arms up. And then exhale, sighing out that tension through the mouth, extra stiffness that might be forming. Inhale again, hands rise. Take your eyes with your hands. And then exhale, release the hands to the sides. Nice little circle in the shoulders. Good. One more time. Breathe in. And breathe out. Inhale again. And exhale. Now that the arms are a little warmed up and the shoulders have some fire, inhale, arms reach up again, however it is you wish. And then on the breath out, hinging forward from your hips as your hands reach down toward the ground. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Take 5 breaths here, just so that you can again lengthen through your legs. Maybe bend the knees if you want to take this more to your lower back. Good work. One more inhale. And one more exhale, sighing it out through the mouth. Breathe in, press into your feet so that the spine rises halfway. And then exhale, knees bend. Take your hands to the ground and just drop into your hands and knees for a tabletop. Only here long enough to do some spinal flossing, but you're always welcome to take a blanket with you under the knees if you need it. Take another breath, ensuring you've got your shoulders stacked on top of your wrists, your hips on top of your knees. We'll do 5 flosses here, so inhale, press the abdomen toward the ground, tailbone and crown go up. And then exhale, hollow your heart, softening in the ribs, curving into the spine. Good. Inhale again. Feel that nice open front body. And then exhale, press into the palms once more on the ground to give the ribs and spine a hug. 3 more cat-cows for you. Now while you're moving through these last couple of flosses, tabletop or Padmanasana can certainly be considered another of those foundational poses. May not be one of the ones we hallmark today, but it's still good to know that a number of yoga flows can start from a tabletop, as it's all just determining the range of motion that the body can move through in various shapes. But when you finish that last spinal floss, take an inhale, hands are going to walk to the top of your mat, shoulders go with you. And then lengthening your legs so that your toes are on the ground. Exhale, elbows bend, beside the ribs, abs to the ground. Breathe in, press into your palms, just peeling the chest off the earth for a back compression. And then toes curl on your mat. Exhale, raise the hips up. Downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Breathe. Just like in tabletop, think of all 10 of your fingers spread wide on the mat. Heels of the feet reaching down toward the earth. Taking 3 more breaths here. Good. Inhale again, look up at where the thumbs converge, so that on your exhale you can tiptoe walk, flat foot walk, or tabletop your feet forward into your forward fold. Take a big breath in, press into your feet to lift the spine halfway. And with your flat back realized, exhale, soften the knees, heart melts to the legs in a fold. Another inhale, bend the knees, tailbone tucks in. As the spine rises up, arms reach up. And then exhale, pull down from the forearms. Just bringing all of that movement back to your heart center. Great work. Nice place to shake it all out of it. Drink some water if you have need for it. So, after getting a little movement in the system, we'll move ourselves through a traditional sun salutation, Surya Namaskar A. But starting with that first bedrock asana today, one of those first foundational poses, your Tadasana, your standing mountain pose. Getting into more of the particulars. Maybe you want your feet side by side with the inner creases touching. Maybe you like them shoulder distance apart, just for an equilibrium of self. Or maybe widening your feet to those edges of the mat. More of a Prasarita stance could feel good. It's your mountain pose. Play with where you choose to end up. Taking 3 more breaths here. Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, arms reach up to the sky, however you wish. And then exhale, hands release as your hips hinge forward to your Uttanasana. Inhale, press into your feet, raise the back up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, knees bend, hands to the earth, step hopper, float your feet to the back, elbows bend by the ribs, taking that vinyasa flow. Inhale, palms press on the mat, chest peels up, legs long, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. And from upward dog, toes curl on the ground. Exhale, hips rise, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Feel free to pedal the feet, bending and straightening alternative legs if you'd like. Maybe you lift the leg for a 3-legged dog on a breath. Do the same thing for the opposite leg. Nice. One last breath here. Inhale, looking up where the thumbs meet again. And then exhale, step, hop, float, or tabletop your feet forward to another fold. From your Uttanasana, inhale, spine rises halfway again, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, soft knees, soft heart to the legs, forward fold. One more breath in, bend the knees, arms reach up, spine rolls up. So that when your hands meet, exhale, pull down from the forearms. Take all the lessons of your salutation with you. Shake everything out again, drink some water if you have some need. So, as mentioned, Tadasana, mountain pose. One of those shapes that the body might start itself off in before taking a yoga flow. We'll take ourselves on a journey now to the second of those 3 bedrock shapes. And again, there are a few others that you can certainly interchange or add to this equation. But the 3 you're experiencing today, your first one being your Tadasana, second one we're about to move into is your Dandasana, your staff pose. And the third one being on your spine in more of a Savasana. So, inhale, gathered at the top of your mat, arms reach up again to the sky. And then exhale, hinge forward from your hips, trust that heart free fall feeling to your forward fold. Inhale, press into your feet, raise the spine halfway. And then exhale, bend the knees, hands to the ground, this time dropping gently down onto your knees, another tabletop. And then, choosing a side, left or right, the legs will swing to that chosen side, arriving in Dandasana, your second bedrock pose, staff pose. Now, few things of note. You want your legs nice and long and lengthened out in front of you. Toes are pointed up to the ceiling as you're still finding That same lift in your abdomen. Shoulders dropping down the back. If this feels a little stiff for the legs today, you are welcome to take a blanket, roll it up, and set that rolled up portion under your knees. You're also welcome to take a block with you. Set the block under your sit bones. This can give you a little elevation in the body. You can also use a bolster or a firm cushion at home for this similar effect. As for your hands, you can have them on the fronts of your legs. That more active variation would have your hands reaching down, fingers reaching down as well to the ground. If you're on the block or bolster, maybe it is the fingers, just to help keep the arms active and lengthened. I've talked quite a bit, so let's take about 5 or 6 breaths, just letting you embody your staff pose. Breath here. If you used a blanket underneath you, nice moment to slide it to the side. You can keep the block or prop underneath your sit bones if you'd still like that lift. Breathing in, really lengthening through the legs, feeling your feet reach up to the sky. On the exhale, you're going to gently bend the right knee so that the right leg slides to the side, and then gently bend the left knee so that the left leg slides past its edge. So, moving the body into one of a few asanas you can find in a seat. This is called your Upavista Konasana. You might also hear it referred to as a pancake fold, a wide-legged seated fold, a couple different ways. So, again, flexing into your feet. You've got a couple ways you can do this. Inhale, arms can reach up to the sky to start. And then exhale, hinging forward from your hips, just so that the body folds itself forward. Another option, you can even bend the legs. Hands can reach for the feet as you breathe in. And then breathing out, sliding your feet, extending them forward. If you have a prop underneath, as visually shown, that can tip you a little bit and might create some off balance. Again, it's all just moving to your body's parameters. So again, arms can either reach or legs can bend. If you're on hardwood floor like this, be mindful of your heels. That might feel a little uncomfortable. Then just being here for another 6 more breaths. Foundation is that you've got your sit bones as your anchor point. Chest is reaching forward in some capacity. Great work. One more breath. On your inhale, your hands along the sides of the legs, walk your spine to center. And then exhale, just helping your legs one at a time, return to staff pose. Shake it all out again, drink some water if you have need. Also gonna wanna grab your blocks, both of them just to serve you, so that when you've had that hydration check, when you come back to the staff, just gonna slide forward a little bit. Keep the knees bent. Blocks come to the sides of your feet and legs, so that you then open your knees out to the sides, taking a Supta Baddha Konasana, reclining butterfly. Nice little rebound posture. We're just here for a couple of minutes, so that the extension that your legs experience gets a little bit of a reprieve. Arms can be where you'd like them to as you breathe here. Starting to reach that minute mark. How is this hip opening feeling? Given the active legs in your forward fold, the active legs in your downward dogs, and your staff pose, and even your Upavista Konasana, that wide-legged seated fold. Would be a good way of just letting yourself settle in. Taking another 6 more breaths here. Now moving into your third posture, which will both be that third featured shape and the final pose of your practice. Inhale, hands move under the knees to close the legs together. And then exhale, legs lengthen all the way down your mat into your Savasana, your corpse pose. Now, even as it's a posture that encourages some relaxation, there are still elements of activity and heat to be cultivated here. Much like your staff pose, you're still stretching through the backs of your legs so that your feet are extending forward toward the top of your mat. You're almost pulling up through your pelvic plate so that you feel your hips just slightly coming up. And then, just like in a seat, your abdomen is reaching upward toward the chest. And then, of course, shoulders still give space for your throat, so that the crown of your head is extending all the way back to the space behind you. This is your active Savasana. We'll take about 6 breaths just so that you can sensate all of that heat that you're creating. It's all an opportunity just for your body to notice those heated sensations. Where are you finding lift? Where are you finding engagement? Those places become foundational building blocks for your body and how it navigates any asana that might follow, any poses that might come after. You are welcome to keep yourself as active in this pose as you like, or you can relax through the legs, relax through the pelvic plate. Shoulders pull gently down the back. As you begin that journey into your final pose today, your Savasana. Compare the difference in your body, what you're feeling here versus that more active shape, that more lifted shape. All while remembering your breath, honoring your heartbeat, leaving behind any tension or stiffness that you might have felt today. And finally, offer yourself some gratitude. Foundational practices like these may not have as much for a flow, but it is nice to visit these postures so that when your body starts to adopt yoga flows, you know intrinsically how you want to embody those foundational shapes. It's all a way to continue to move in an informed, self-guided, and self-sustaining way. So enjoy your Savasana. Thank you again for all that you do on and off of the mat. And know that I'll bring you back to the here and now shortly. multitude of processes, equally meritorious in their scope, starting with breathing in through your nose, feeling the air live in your body. The breath itself, a foundational element to help you sensate and embody your experience on and off the mat. In time, the breath leaves with a big exhale through the nose, or a sigh or a yawn through the mouth. In time, perhaps the fingertips and toes wiggle a little bit. Just as the wrists and ankles might circle a little bit. You could point and flex the feet a couple times, just as you could tip the neck side to side once or twice. But in truth, it's your space, it's your practice, as it always is and always will be. So make any movements that feel good for your body, honoring and strengthening your return, your tether to this corporeal plane. When you feel like you've made an adequate return to your space, you're always welcome to conclude your practice on your mat in that Savasana shape, or meet me in a seat of your choosing. Sit bones taking their time, whether you anchor yourself to your spine, or again using your sit bones as that anchor point after moving the body in those tender ways to the seat. After all, the limbs, the arms, legs, and eyes will all tell you when you found a seating shape. In the end, it all brings you back to this foundational practice, featuring 3 poses that you usually find yourself moving through across the varying modalities of yoga. Your Tadasana, your mountain pose, very active standing asana that connects you to all of the corners of your body, lifting toward the sky. Your Dandasana, your staff pose, a seated shape with the legs forward, lifting the body through every atom, just like your mountain, all reaching upward and meeting the sun, or the moon for that matter. And finally, your Savasana, your corpse pose, that reclined shape on your back that can be both active and relaxing depending on what you need it to be. And with that, it has been my humble, happy honor to have shared this space with you today as you shared it with me. Thank you for trusting me to guide you on this more foundational aspect practice on your mat today. And may you always live this life in your authentic way, bringing your shine and radiance to this beautiful planet we share. The luminosity in me cherishes, respects, and will always celebrate the luminous blooming heart in you. Shanti. Namaste. I thank you and appreciate you always for the time that you choose to spend on your mat, whether with myself or taking any other kind of yoga modality for your own practice, whether something foundational like today, or whether moving through more dynamic flows. It's always good to know the building blocks of your practice, like how you breathe, what your body chooses to do in shapes, so that when you move, you always moved in informed and safe ways. So with all that said, I'm thanking you again, words are fun. Until we meet each other on our mats, namaste.